Hello my lovely book lovers! Today I'm going to sacrifice a few books. I've been wanting to do this tag for a while now because I really don't hesitate to write a negative review when I don't like the book, and I also don't hesitate to give the book a low star rating if I don't like the book. And I also like reading negative reviews and things like that. So this tag was made by Ariel Brissett and I leave her video in the description below, and I really loved it. Thumbs up for her video and thumbs up for the idea. There are 4 different stories, and in each of those you have to sacrifice a book to survive or to prevent something from happening. And I'm going to start with the first one. So here we have an overhyped book. Let's imagine this, zombie apocalypse. And you're in a bookstore, just browsing, when bam, zombies attack. You hear an announcement and it says that the military has discovered a way to kill the zombies. The best way to kill the zombies is to hit them with an overhyped book. You have to take this book and kill zombies with it. And for this overly hyped book, I chose Beautiful Creatures by Camille Garcia and Margaret Stohl. This book was really overly hyped, and I've read it, and I've read the second part, and I have third and fourth book on my shelf. I'm probably going to read them because I've bought them and I don't really know what to do with them. People were talking that it's great, that they love this book, and I really couldn't find anything that would help me to love this book more. I just thought that it was boring, but why it was so confusing for me? Because everything happens in the south of America, I think, and there are a lot of customs, a lot of beliefs and everything in this book. And if you're not from that part of the world, you really can't understand everything, and nothing is really explained as it should be for the other readers to understand, and I really hated that. And I didn't like the story itself, and I didn't like the romance, and I didn't like the characters, and there is almost nothing in this book that I liked. So it was a huge disappointment, especially because I picked this book up because it was recommended in one of the Vampire Academy books. When I heard that, I had to pick this book up and read it because I thought that it would be similar to Vampire Academy, but nothing happened. Finishing this book was really hard for me, and it was just boring, and I didn't like this book at all. Then the next one is a sequel. And let's say you've just left the salon with a smashing new haircut. And boom! Torrential downpour. What sequel are you willing to use as an umbrella? Well, for the sequel I had to go with this one, and it is by Trudy Canavan, and if you've seen any of my previous videos, then you'll know that the Black Magician trilogy is my favorite fantasy trilogy. And this is kind of sequel trilogy because it is set in the same world, but it happens, I think, like 20 years later. I had huge expectations from these books, and I really wanted them to be as good as the Black Magician trilogy, but that just didn't happen. There were a lot of repetitive elements, the characters weren't so well developed, and nothing really happened the way I wanted it to happen. Maybe some of you will like this book if you read Black Magician trilogy and then you read these books, but I just didn't like them as much as I liked the Black Magician trilogy. I read Black Magician trilogy many times, and these books I could only read once. So then the third is a classic. Let's say you're in a lecture and your English teacher is going on and on how this classic changed the world, how it revolutionized literature, and you get so sick of it that you chuck the classic right in his face because, you know what, the classic is stupid and it's worth attention just to show everyone how you feel. What classic do you chuck? And for this one I had to choose The Stranger by Albert Camus. And I really didn't like this book. Everyone compared it to Process by Kafka. if that's the English name for this book. I think that it is. And I really like that one. I can almost say that it is dystopian, utopian, something like that. And I really love that one. But The Stranger, I really couldn't like that, because everyone was talking about it and how great it was, and we had to analyze each and every part of this book in our literature class. I just thought that this book was, well, an overly hyped classic, and I really couldn't find anything in this book that could teach me some things, and I really wanted that, because I think that if we read a classic like that, it should be full of some smart things and full of wisdom and life-teaching things and everything like that. I really didn't like that at all. And finally, your least favorite book of life. Let's say that you are hanging out at the library when, bam, global warming explodes and the world outside becomes a frozen wasteland. You're trapped and your only chance for survival is to burn a book. What is the book you first run to? Your least favorite book of all time? What book you not fully regret? I didn't know if I should choose this book for an overly hyped book, because it is overly hyped, especially nowadays, and I just couldn't. I had to pick this book for my least favorite because it is overly hyped, and I hated this book so much I can't even explain, and I hated the second part maybe even more than the first one, and please don't judge me, but this book is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I know, but this book makes me so angry, and I'm going to tell you why. This book is about the kingdom's greatest assassin, and the first thing that I couldn't really understand is why there are so many books about assassins, and I read too many books about assassins, and I don't really find them as interesting as some people do. I'm not sure why. But anyways, this was the worst assassin book that I've ever read. Nothing is really explained in this book. Everything is just told, and I really hate that. And we can see this girl who's been trapped in dark mines, salt mines. She is a trained assassin, but she got caught, and so they trapped her in that salt mine. We don't see any of that. There are also some short novellas about that period of her life, but I haven't read those. I've only read the first and second book. And in this book, she is offered a choice. She is offered her freedom, and in return she has to participate in this tournament where all the other kingdom's greatest killers and assassins will also participate. And she gets a room in a castle, and this room is furnished with the best possible furniture, and she gets all those dresses and food and everything, like she's some noble princess or something like that, and Prince falls in love with her, and she loves reading books, she loves playing the piano, and I can't really see how that is possible, because she's up to date with all these books and with playing the piano and musical instruments and all the culture and everything, and she's been trapped in that salt mine for who knows how long, and I really can't understand why this book is so overly hyped. I mean, it is unrealistic, and nothing is really believable in this book. And also the captain of the guard is interested in her, and everyone is interested in her, and she is the kingdom's greatest assassin, but she never really killed anyone, and we really don't see her killing anyone. And then I picked up the second book, and I don't really know why I bought it in the first place. I know why I bought it. I bought it because of the cover, because the cover is really great. We can see this beautiful white cover. Its back is red, and there is also red here, so this is the only reason why I like this book. I like it because of the cover. And I read This is where I stopped reading because I couldn't really read any longer, and I really wanted to see if this book would be any better, because when I was looking at its page at Goodreads, all the reviews were 5 stars reviews, and I couldn't really understand that. I only saw one star review, and I think that I'm going to give this book 1 star, because in my opinion it was even worse than the first book, and I really dislike these books, and if I could, I would just throw them away, and I would just light them to save my life, and I would just set those books to fire, even if I didn't have to save my life from the frozen wasteland. In this tag and in this video I didn't really want to offend anyone. I just wanted to tell you my opinion on these books and everything, because I really didn't like these books. For some of them my expectations were really greater and I got nothing of my expectations. And that would be it. That would be my book sacrifice tag. So I'm going to tag a few people. I'm going to tag Mooney from Mooney's Book World, and I'm going to tag Valpix Candy, and I'm also going to tag Booksers Kata. And please do this because it was really interesting, and I would really like to see what are the books that you chose for these categories, and what are the books that you don't particularly like. So I really enjoyed doing this tag, and I'm really angry after speaking about these books, but this was really interesting, and I hope that you liked my video. And please, if you did like some of these books, don't mind me, because this is just a tag video, and if I didn't like these books, it doesn't mean that you won't like them. Maybe you will, who knows, and that's just my opinion. So that would be the end, and if you enjoyed my video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.